So, what if I told you that the secret to a total life transformation wasn't some huge, earth-shattering event? What if it was something, well, something a lot smaller? So small, in fact, you might not even notice it. That's the whole idea behind James Clear's Atomic Habits, that the biggest results in our lives actually come from the smallest changes.
And it all really boils down to this one deceptively simple number, 1%. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, does it? It's a change so tiny it's practically invisible.
But what if that tiny percentage, when you apply it day after day, is actually the most powerful engine for self-improvement we have? Could this one little percent really be the key to unlocking everything you're capable of?
All right, so let's actually dig into that. Just how powerful is 1%? Well, you're about to see the surprising compounding power that's hiding inside that tiny number.
Let's look at a real-world example, the British cycling team. For like 100 years, they were pretty average. But then a new coach came in and introduced this idea he called the aggregation of marginal gains. Basically, they just hunted for tiny 1% improvements in everything they did. And I mean everything. They figured out which massage gels worked faster. They taught the riders how to wash their hands better to avoid colds. They even painted the inside of the team truck white, just so they could spot little bits of dust that might mess with the bike mechanics. And the results? They were absolutely staggering. In just 5 years, they went from mediocre to completely dominant, winning 60% of the gold medals at the 2008 Olympics and a bunch of Tour de France titles.
And here's why that worked. Habits are basically the compound interest of self-improvement. If you get just 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, you're not 1% better. You're nearly 38 times better. But, and this is the important part, the math works both ways. If you get 1% worse each day, you slide all the way back down to almost zero. It's a stark reminder that your daily choices are either building you up or tearing you down.
Okay, so if these tiny daily actions are the real key, how should we think about them? This brings us to probably one of the biggest mindset shifts in the whole book, focusing on systems instead of goals.
So what's the difference? A goal is the result you want, right? Like winning a championship. A system, on the other hand, is the process that leads you to that result. It's your daily practice routine. Now here's the kicker. Winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. I mean, every single athlete at the Olympics wants to win a gold medal. What actually separates them is their system, their commitment to that process of tiny, continuous improvements. When you only focus on the goal, you tend to get this yo-yo effect where you work hard, hit the target, and then just stop. But when you focus on the system, you learn to fall in love with the process itself, and that's what creates progress that actually lasts.
And this quote from James Clear just says it all. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. It's so true. When things get tough, when your motivation is gone, it's not your big ambitions that save you. It's your daily habits, your system, that determines whether you succeed or fail.
Now, all of this builds up to the deepest, most fundamental layer of changing your behavior. It's not just about the things you do, it's about the person you become. You see, the most powerful way to change your habits is to stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you want to become. This is what we call identity-based habits. The goal isn't just to write a book, it's to become a writer. It's not about running one marathon, it's about becoming a runner. When your habits and your identity are completely in sync, you're not even trying to change anymore. You're just being who you are.
I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. So every time you pick up a guitar, you're casting a vote for, I am a musician. Every time you go for a run, you're casting a vote for, I am a runner. These little habits start to build up a body of evidence for your new identity, and they reinforce it until it just becomes you.
Okay, so we get the philosophy, we get the mindset. But how do we actually do it? How do we build these habits and systems? Well, James Clear breaks it all down into a really simple, practical framework.
He calls them the 4 laws of behavior change. To build a good habit, you just follow these 4 steps. First, make it obvious. You want to work out more? Leave your gym clothes out the night before. Second, make it attractive. Pair something you want to do with something you need to do. Third, make it easy. Start with a 2-minute rule. Instead of read a book, start with read 1 page. And fourth, make it satisfying. Give yourself some kind of immediate reward when you do it. And if you want to break a bad habit, you just flip them. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Simple.
Okay, this brings us to a really critical point. This is probably the #1 reason people fail to stick with new habits, that frustration you feel when you're not seeing results right away. As a name for this, it's called the plateau of latent potential. It's that really painful phase where you're doing all the right things, you're putting in the work day in and day out, but the results just aren't showing up yet. It feels like you're completely stuck. It's often called the valley of disappointment. And this is exactly where most people just give up. They think their efforts are being wasted. But here's the thing, they're not.
There's this fantastic quote by Jacob Riis that paints the perfect picture. A stone cutter can hammer away at a rock 100 times and nothing happens. But then, on the 101st blow, the rock splits right in two. And we know it wasn't that last hit that did it. It was all the hits that came before it.
That's exactly what's happening with our habits. All the real work is happening under the surface. It's building up. The breakthrough only looks sudden from the outside. You know, it's like bamboo. It can spend years growing its root system underground before it suddenly shoots 90 feet into the air in just a few weeks. The point is, the most powerful outcomes are almost always delayed. You just have to have the faith to keep going long enough to break through that plateau.
So as we wrap all this up, it really comes back to that simple, powerful idea. Every day is a new choice, a new chance. If every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become, then the question isn't about what you're going to do next year or even next week. It's about right now. So what's the one tiny habit, the one vote that you're going to cast for your future self today?